Hello, I'm Brianna. I paint things, and today I filmed myself painting a thing. Well, over a couple days. We'll talk about that. This is a paint with me of my piece, Lavender Witch, and the whole point of Paint with Me is if you have a project you're working on, if you're an artist and you need an extra push of motivation to get to work, this is a great opportunity for us to just hang out together and paint. And I love Paint with Me's personally. Anytime I'm working on a piece and I need a little background noise, I'm that type of person. Some people are, some people aren't. But for me, anytime I'm working on a painting, I love to be listening to music or listening to other artists paint with me's. So I had to make one, naturally. During this video, I want to be talking about my process of creating this painting, what went into it, what inspired me, and then on top of that, I'd like to talk about what lessons I learned. I will give a fair disclaimer about the type of artist I am. I'm not really a technical artist. I'm not very specific, and I'm not very well planned. It's really not my strong suits. It's really not what I enjoy. What I really like to enjoy is taking a more intuitive and emotional approach with art, using it almost like a healing modality, and painting with a more free spirit where you're not being so tied down to rigid expectations and allowing yourself to float wherever you see fit. That's really the way I paint. And so when I'm learning things from my paintings, it's, technical things. You always improve, you always gain knowledge about how to do better paintings in the future. But I think also letting go of control and having the right mindset or the right emotional state, or finding a way to be happy making paintings, not stressed, is more important to me than having perfect end results all the time. So as far as the more obvious stuff, the how did I make the painting question, as far as mediums, this is a mixed media painting. You can bet any painting I make is probably a mixed media painting. I am very free of restriction with what I use, and I will grab whatever I think will make my painting easier to make. So this painting was made with watercolors, acrylics, acrylic inks, alcohol inks, an assortment of pens and pencils, including Copic markers, microns, the works. Maybe a little gouache, I don't know. Honestly, I start to forget because I just grab things. There's a point in this video where I'm literally just grabbing pens and I'm trying them and I'm like, no, not this one, try again. I was super inspired by the color scheme. I think the color scheme is really what got me with this piece. As far as actually creating this piece, it's on watercolor paper. It had a lot of witchy, magical aesthetics, the Instagram girl who's into tarot and me. And I was also really inspired by purple. Right now my jam has been lavender, purple, black, and silver. I love it, and I don't really get into that color territory very often, but recently I have been loving it. So I was really inspired by a photo that had those colors in it, and I was like, I must make a piece with this color scheme. I must. She has a third eye. I love painting third eyes on women. It's one of my favorite things ever. And I always put a heart in the third eye. It's just mood. I'm into it. And the crescent moon on her sternum, where the cutout in her shirt is. And then I also ended up adding the words "Your Magic" at the end. And that was really intuitive. I just threw it in there. Honestly, I was like, I feel magical as fuck. So, had to. I think now is a really awesome time to talk about what I learned from this painting. And while we're talking about it, today is a different day. I have impulsively dyed my hair pink. My hands are pink because I hate gloves. Don't come for me. I don't care. And I am filming this on a second day because of a lot of technical difficulties that I had. And the sun went away after I figured out those technical difficulties. So we're filming this the next day, which happens. And that really brings me to what I learned from this piece generally is just don't sweat the small stuff, honestly. When I'm working on a piece, a lot of its meaning doesn't come from the idea itself. Sometimes the idea has a meaning, but it's really expanded upon and grows into something of its own whenever I actually work through the painting. And in this case, I'm filming and editing this video and facing obstacles that come up. It's those obstacles in creating this thing, turning the idea into a thing that exists, that teaches me something and then makes the painting more important to me than just the idea. And I think for this painting, there was a lot of technical difficulties. There was a lot of like issues with editing because I haven't made a video in over a year, so I have no idea what I'm doing. And my whole time frame, like I was expecting to make this in like a day, 2 days, 3 days at most, and it's been a week. So I think with this painting, it was like just more of a passion project, like a fun thing that I wanted to do, something I wanted to try out. I wanted to learn how to make YouTube videos. I wanted to get more into that, and this painting was like a conduit for me to do things that I wasn't necessarily familiar with and be comfortable with things not necessarily going to plan. In this case, I'm not the most happy with this video because it's super disorganized. But you know what? That's what happens whenever you try something that you don't have experience in. Like, you have to start somewhere. Like, you have to begin. And like with the whole paint with me concept, a lot of the reason why I like grabbed onto that to use this for this video is because sometimes it's difficult to start when you know you don't really know. And you're expecting that things are going to go wrong. And when things go wrong, it can be hard to like get in your head and be like, well, you have to do this thing anyway. Like, you have to make that transition even if it's uncomfortable. So for me, you know, editing this video, uncomfortable, so many problems. Filming this video, uncomfortable, so many problems. This painting, probably the least uncomfortable because I have a lot of experience painting paintings, obviously, but even that had its own hang-ups and areas where I had to rework things. Like, whenever I was working on the hair, I realized the way the hair was laying, her hand just looked like it was floating and there was no shoulder, so I ended up adding more hair later on to cover it up and make it look more anatomically correct, because for some reason my brain had just where's a shoulder? What's a shoulder? So stuff like that, where it's just not as you would expect, but you still have to get in there and try new things and deal with the discomfort of that experience. And then you end up with an end product that may not be perfect, but it leads you like one step in the right direction. And you know, though maybe I'm not the most happy with this video, I am so happy to try something new and start a new project and make more videos that I will get better at, you know, each time forward. So, well, if you took this time to work on your own piece of art or work on your own project, whether that's an actual painting or something else, like maybe you're a musician, I don't know, I would love to hear about it. I'd love you to write down what you made or a little bit about what you're in the process of making, whether it was during this video or just like in this time of your life. What are you making? I would love to hear it. Write a comment about it. What you have taken from this whole message of starting somewhere, even if it's uncomfortable and not perfect. Perfection's overrated. It's stupid. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you should follow me on Instagram. I'll put it below. And this is the end result of the painting. I super duper amazingly enjoyed making this painting. I loved this painting. I loved making this video. I'm just happy to be here and be back making videos. I will try to be posting a video once a week, but you know, I'm just starting. We'll see how it goes.